are listening to The Breakfast Show here on Faith FM. Coming up in the show, we are going to be jumping into a few different things. We're going to be having, you got to stay tuned for this, we're going to be doing an interview on health and fitness with a good friend of mine, Caitlin Clutie, who is probably one of the healthiest, fittest people I know. So if you want health advice from, she's I believe she's working in, like, she has a master's degree in, I think, exercise physiology and that kind of thing. So pretty high up there. You'll be blessed. You'll have to stay tuned for that one. As well as, hey, looking at some of the concrete steps that are being suggested in the wake of the Bondi shooting. And also, what were you going to get into for us?
Visions. How God speaks to us in visions.
I'm keen to chat about it. But before we get into any of those things, we need a quiz question. Please, producer Shell.
All right, our third quiz question, Lawson-related.
The law of Lawson?
The law of Lawson question. When Lawson met Skafy, what condition was he in?
Okay.
We got a correct answer from Dan on this one.
I'm one for three.
Well done.
This is so awesome. This is a great question. I thought you were going to say this would be a good question. Tell me if it's in there. What does Lawson mean? One of the questions. What does the word Lawson mean?
Oh, okay. We can throw that one in as a bonus question. If you know the answer to that one, you can send in as well. Hey, we got somebody else here with us at the moment who wanted to say hello.
Okay. Hello.
Hey, Lawson. How are you, mate?
Oh, hey, Lyle. What's up, bro?
Double L team back on track again.
Yeah. All right. See you, Dan. Dan's backing up. He's leaving. No, what's up? What are we doing?
Oh, man. Just wanted to call in for your last day and say congratulations on an amazing career on Faith FM radio. Or there at the beginning, I remember when you first came in for a sneaky audition and we recognised some talent and just want to praise God. Just really want to praise God for the thousands and thousands of lives that your ministry has impacted here on Faith FM radio.
Wow. Praise God. Yeah. Thanks, dude. I remember that audition too. I've literally never been more nervous in my life to be sitting in a room with two people, just chatting. That was so hectic. Yeah. But praise God. And shout out Lyle, shout out Shell. We had our Faith FM Christmas party last week, and it was just awesome to reflect, and that's kind of when I put the announcement out to everyone about my departure, and it was really awesome to reflect there at the Christmas party and just to get into really a lot of the blessings that have come in my ministry have come from Faith FM and the time that I spent with you guys. So Lyle, thank you so much.
No, it was a privilege to work with you all of those years, and they were definitely some of the greatest years of my ministry, and I just want to thank you for that because you made that possible. We created a team there together that we had some great time serving God.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I'm getting nostalgic. This is epic. This is epic. This is so good. This is so good. Oh, thanks, Lyle. Hey, look, if maybe Shell has just been embarrassing me all morning, which has been really awesome.
The best.
So, look, if you've got anything embarrassing to say, now's your time.
I'm going to be playing another vintage little clip from the two of you guys. I think it's from the two of you anyway.
Yeah. Okay.
Here.
So is this going to embarrass me or is it going to embarrass Lawson?
I don't know. Probably both of you.
The title of the clip that I can see is called Lawson Rant. So I am not confident that. Look, I think it's going to be pretty embarrassing for me. But hey, let's see. Let's roll the.
All right, let's
roll
listen.
the clip.
The Breakfast Show. Bits worth repeating.
When you're in eternity, do you actually count it as time?
No, okay.
If a tree falls in the woods and nobody's there to hear it, does it make a sound?
Time exists in heaven. I am sick of people who don't understand physics thinking that time doesn't exist in eternity.
Oh, here we go.
Of course it does. Because where there is light, there is space and time. There has to be. Because it takes time to get from one side of a space to another.
But what if you create the light from one side to the other at the same time?
we are beings of relative space. We are not omnipotent. Yes, for God, time might not exist because he's everywhere experiencing everything all at once. But we are linear beings. Time does exist no matter what context you're in, whether you live forever or not, time exists, okay?
This is a finite linear being having a rant right now.
Yeah, I know.
Speaking with great authority
there are people who
on things of which he does not...
No, I know. How can you not know? This, like, what do you think happens to us in heaven? We turn into big, like, timeless, bodiless blobs? Like, no. We're people.
Join in each weekday morning here on Faith FM.
You know what's so funny about that? I use the word omnipotent wrong. I'm listening to that and I'm like, I'm so stupid. Like the correct word was well, to be in spaces, different spaces, omnipresent, right? So, which made me laugh. Oh, that's classic. I remember the good times with Lyle, you know. Are you still on the line with us? Nah, he's
still there, still listening in.
Yeah. What a good time. That was awesome. I think, you know, some classic segments from back in the day, particularly you and Mon. There was a number of times where we got into the weeds of things and we would really put our foot down in disagreement on particular topics. And I think actually that's probably the thing that I appreciate about you, Lyle, doing radio with you the most, is that you were the most, I think when we did radio together, we were the most willing to just like have a go at each other and just completely disagree with what we were saying. And it gave us some entertaining, you know, radio.
It did. It was so much fun.
Yeah.
And to be able to do that in a Christian way where, you know, we can strongly disagree on certain points and love each other unequivocally at the same time, I think is that's the kind of thing that we need to be able to share with our world. Particularly, you know, with some of the things that are going on right now, which we probably don't need to talk about because we probably talked about too much, but
sure.
We need a lot more of that in our world.
Absolutely. A lot more love, a lot more willingness to engage. Hey, Lyle, thanks for that, buddy. We'll chat with you later.
God bless, guys.
God bless. Hey, let's jump into visions and dreams with Dr. Dan here.
Yeah, so I actually, I'm thinking about Joel 2:28, and it's where it says, "And it shall come to pass afterwards that I'll pour out my spirit on all flesh. Your sons and your daughters shall prophesy. Your old men shall dream dreams, and your young men shall see visions. And also on my men servants and on my maid servants, I will pour out my spirit in those days." And it's talking about the last days. Mm-hmm. And so we were reviewing Luke chapter 2 there, where the prophet or the member of the Sanhedrin, the rabbi Simeon, was giving a prophetic message about Jesus, and then the prophetess Anna also after him in the verses immediately after. And so we were reviewing a couple of prophets talking about Jesus' first coming. So I want to put forward that God still speaks in dreams today, and I wanted to tie a few different things together, and we'll see if we can do that in a couple of minutes. We'll see where this goes. So, I actually have a friend who was needing to make a decision as to what to do next. He had a call to do something different in his life, a different type of ministry, and he was like, "Yeah, no, I don't think this is from the Lord." But 3 different people had dreams that said, "Yes, this is from God, and you need to do it." And so that influenced his decision, and he took that call to do something a different type of ministry.
Wow, that's amazing.
So God still does speak to us in dreams. He spoke to Simeon there in Luke chapter 2 and Anna. I wanted to review a couple of dreams that people have had at this time of year, leading up to Christmas, around the end of the year. Not Christmas related necessarily, but around mid-December. We're not sure exactly which date, but it could have even been, for both of these visions, it could have even been the 19th of December. Back a few hundred years ago. So the first one, and this is not to say that every dream that people get is a dream from God, because Constantine got a dream back in, I think it was 312 AD, and he saw the sign of the cross, and he became a Christian from that time, and he became he united the power of the state with Christianity, and so he. It was a result of this dream that he got that that Christianity became the official church of the Roman Empire. It didn't happen straight away, but over time that's how history went, and this had mixed consequences. There were some negative things around the coercion involved in Christianity becoming a state religion and becoming an enforced religion, and so there was some negative consequences around that vision. But wind the clock forward a couple of thousand years, and around 1844, there was a young woman who had a vision. Her first vision of many visions that she got from God came around about this time of year, mid-December, December 19, maybe even, and that was Ellen White. She had a vision. And it was in the context of people looking forward to Jesus' second coming. And we've been talking about people looking forward to Jesus' coming, whether it's the first coming, Simeon and others in Israel around that time 2,000 years ago. And, of course, we're looking back at that at the time of Christmas each year. But living today, we're looking forward to Jesus' second coming. And so they were too back in 1844, but they had misunderstood some of the prophecies in the book of Daniel. And they were studying through the Bible, piecing it together. They were already starting to understand the mistake that they had made, thinking that Jesus would come back in 1844, and they got there through study of the Bible. But then this vision came to Ellen White, her first vision, and it confirmed to that people, that fledgling group that was kind of falling away and getting a bit discouraged in some ways. When I say kind of falling away, some members of that group were falling away after the great disappointment of 1844. But the vision that she got confirmed, yes, you're on the right track.
Yeah,
and
wow.
That was a pivotal moment in the people in that group maintaining the course and staying faithful to the calling that God had on that movement that eventually became the Seventh-day Adventist Church, and that's where we from Faith FM are sharing from.
Yeah, absolutely. God is wanting to speak to us in numerous ways, and we can say, look, like I would agree, and I think you agree with this, is that God's primary way that he wants to use is through his word. Obviously, that's why he's given it to us, the word of God. But I love the fact that God will also use anything and everything.
And I threw in the Constantine vision, because not every vision. I've had dreams. I've had dreams this week that are like an alternate reality of my life, where I was dreaming about my courtship with my wife, and the dream was that it didn't work out. And I woke up and I'm like, oh, thank God that was just a dream.
I've had the same dream. That like I got rejected by my wife. And then I wake up and I'm just like depressed and sad, and I wake up and I'm like, she's beside me in bed and I'm like, oh.
So dreams can come from all sorts of things. Not necessarily from God. I mean, it can be our own imagination working over time.
100%.
The devil can use, he can plant thoughts in our minds even while we're asleep. And that's probably what happened with Constantine. Who knows what happened with Constantine? Or he could have made it up. Who
my
knows?
take on the Constantine dream is that he made it up.
Yeah,
like,
right.
I'm just like, look, man, like, he was looking at an unstable empire. He's looking at a religion that crosses world borders like nothing that they've ever seen before. And I think that he made it up. But even if he didn't, I'm still very skeptical that it's like a dream from God. Hey, go and conquer in this sign and then make this your state religion. Like,
well, the comparison with the dream of Simeon and the true Messiah, and the suffering Messiah versus Constantine creating suffering for others. Like, it's
That's
not
right.
the same. Not singing from the same songbook.
Absolutely. And so this is the necessity. Even if God speaks to you in a dream, crack open the word and start to do some comparison. That's where it should teach. That's where it should point us and direct us towards.
Absolutely,
is God's word. Even in a dream, God is wanting to be consistent with who He is in His word and what He's revealed. Hey, right now, this is Jill Paquette Deeswan with Psalm 116. This is truly the Lawson Show today. This is one of my favorite songs.
You're listening to the Breakfast Show podcast on Faith FM. Positively different.
Pancakes, waffles, orange juice, Vegemite on toast.
I don't smell any of that. This is a Bible study.
Yeah, but I thought this was like the breakfast show.
No, it's a show at breakfast time. We do interviews and quizzes, positive news, and current events.
Okay, that kind of breakfast show.
Look, Blake, I know that you're new here, but we're trying to feed people spiritual food, not physical food.
Okay, well, why didn't you tell me that before I got to the studio?
It's in your job description. Please, do the intro.
Tune in every weekday morning right here on Faith FM for the new Breakfast Combo with Blake and Lawson.
I'm be real.
Hey, I'm having my breakfast on the breakfast show.
Yeah, that's right.
That was so cringe. That was so cringe. Shout out Blake though, but dude, that was not like for me.
I love it.
Yeah, Michelle's into it. That's actually that's the first one that's actually made me go like, okay. Everything else was kind of funny. That I'm just like, that was cringe. That was super cringe. Hey, what was the answer to the last quiz question?
The last quiz question, and I'm going to give it to everybody. Everybody sent in either one of these two things: drunk or hungover. So, yeah. And it was probably a combo of both.
Yeah.
As someone who's never drunk, I don't know. I assume you can do both at the same time.
So the question was, in what state was Lawson when he first met Skafy?
That's right.
And the answer.
What condition was his body?
Yeah. And the reason was because when I met Skafy, like I wasn't a Christian.
No, not at all.
Skafy was among the first like Christians that I really spent time with, and yeah, I went to his house. I got invited to his house by another friend that I had met, another young Christian friend, and I was super hungover. I was so hungover. I like drank a lot the night before, and I remember going to his house and just eating like the best food, like Camilla, his wife, making this like incredible pasta and all this kind of stuff. It was awesome.
She's a good cook.
But
they're great people.
A good cook, great people, had a great time. And yeah, that was really the catalyst to me. I began winding off the drink. I love spending time with them, and I just began winding it off because I was like, oh, I actually don't need to drink around these people. Or nor should I, because it's kind of awkward. And then that eventually turned into me quitting drinking and not being into it anymore.
All right, I have one more message since we're talking about him. Here's
Lawson of all Lawsons, the LeBron James of Christian World Radio. It is Skafy here. I'm unfortunately couldn't be with you in the studio in your farewell show, but I'm just dialing in to say that I will miss you so much. You brought so much joy to my mornings. Every day of work was really enjoyable, was really a great pleasure to me. So we could come together, we can chat about what was going on in the world, we could chat about what was going on in the Bible, how to become more like Jesus and learning new things. I really appreciate you, as you know, and perhaps not everybody knows, but your story and mine, it goes a long way back, and I am absolutely thrilled to see what God is going to do in your life in this next chapter of yours. So keep up the good work. Keep fighting the good fight. God bless you, my friend.
Shout out Skafy, bro. Oh, yeah. Thanks for that. I mean, he's not listening to us, so it was a pre-recorded message, but yeah, shout out Big Skafy, and I think that's the person that actually it's like I was about to say that I feel bad for because I'm leaving him to hold up the fort, but then at the same time I'm like, hey, maybe it's a good thing for him. Maybe he stays. So he's like, oh, finally.
No, not at all. He's very devastated.
Shout out Skafy. Hey, holidaying with his family, good stuff. And I think that's the other side of it too. Is like all the people that I've been host with. We've been able to journey together in different seasons and whatnot, and yeah, it's like Skafy in these last couple of months has been really he's been with us a little bit more sporadically because he's been looking after his family and there's been some necessities and things going on at home that he's had to look after, and so yeah, I just have so much respect for him, and I've been really blessed to be able to do radio with him as well. Hey, given that it's my last show, that means I get to be controversial.
Go for it.
I get to be controversial, and
no, you don't.
And initially I was avoiding it. Even this morning, and I was saying things like, "Oh, we're gonna just peruse and have a look at, some of the more concrete plan suggestions to solve what happened at
Solve the world.
Bondi and, solve the kind of problem with that. Actually, you know what I'm going to title this section? It's going to be called Why Bondi Actually Happened. Why the Bondi shooting actually happened. This is the title of this section. And look, because the reason I'm saying this is that there has now been, suggestions coming out in terms of next steps from here. There has been a suggestion that there needs to be actively enforced and strengthened legislation regarding hate speech, specifically targeting preachers. Now, this is revolving more specifically around the Islamic preachers there's been a specific prayer center in Bankstown and whatnot that has been pointed out as, this is a place where people have been radicalized and where these two men got radicalized, and some of the ideas being shared by Muslim preachers in this space are hurtful and harmful, and we're anti-Semitic and terroristic and whatnot, and so we need to bring out legislation that heavily penalizes this kind of speech. Now, the question is, would that be the thing to stop people from becoming terrorists? I'm not quite sure. People can still say things in private. But look, I'm gonna open up to you right now the real reason why I think the Bondi shooting happened, which is, I believe it is thoroughly a bureaucratic failure. A bureaucratic failure. Now, what does that mean? It's interesting, in the wake of the shooting, a lot of politicians, particularly from the coalition and whatnot, have come out. And I'm not saying this to side with a particular political group, but a lot of the, Susan Ley and Josh Frydenberg and these guys coming out and saying, this is Anthony Albanese's fault. Even John Howard, interestingly,
really?
who is, a very much a retired politician, senior statesman for years, and usually like statesmen don't say things like this, particularly in times of national tragedies, but essentially came out and said, like, Albanese is to blame here because he didn't, give dealing with anti-Semitism, enough rigor. He didn't do it with the right amount of excitement and enthusiasm. These are literally, like, verbatim the words that came out of John Howard's mouth, which I thought was very interesting. I'm like, wow. Especially when, if we look at the Albanese government just over the last year, since the uptick in anti-Semitic acts as a result of October 7th, 2023, which is, when the conflict kicked off in Israel. They've done a bunch of things to try to combat anti-Semitism, including spending $32 million to improve security of synagogues in big cities. They have they set up a specific task force in the police to combat anti-Semitism. Like, there's a number of steps that they took to try and do something about it, right? But the suggestion from the opposition is like, they did nothing. They just stood around. They didn't have the right vibe or enthusiasm. So the question is, despite all of those efforts, what didn't happen? Why didn't it work? I think the most mind-blowing aspect of all of this, now that all the information's coming out from the Bondi shooting, is that particularly the things that ASIO have been saying. Now, ASIO is the Australian intelligence, it's our version of a type of CIA,
yeah,
right? And they've come out and they've said, almost kind of bragging in a way, like coming out in a very tone of I would call it like superiority or something. I don't know. But essentially they've come out and said, yeah, we actually knew that they were a threat. The first information that we got is that, they were deemed low level. But they've come out since and said, no, we knew that they went and trained in the Philippines. We knew that they had been radicalized. We knew that they were looking down at, very extremist avenues. We knew that they owned a certain amount of guns. We knew that they had recently procured ammunition. We actually knew all these things and had flagged it. And so,
are they trying to shift the blame?
They're saying that they knew it all. So then it's like, Well, then why didn't you do something about it? And, you know, these are the big questions coming out is, you know, hey, if we have these laws to like combat terrorism, like if legislation has been made to combat terrorism and then you've been funded to do that by the government, then why haven't you done it despite knowing all these things? This is the big question here is why haven't you done it? And what I see it as is, more of a bureaucratic failure than a legislative failure.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
Which is...
Or a political failure.
Yeah, than a political failure, exactly. Because from the legislative point of view, like they have been making decisions to try to combat anti-Semitism. I'm not saying that everything Albanese has done in this space is good. I'm not saying, hey, Albanese is actually the perfect prime minister. But what I am saying is, no, they did make several attempts to do something. They had all the information that they needed to step in and stop this, and yet it didn't happen. So what it looks like to me is, rather than a legislative issue, it's an enforcement of legislation issue. This is what we're seeing here. Now, this is the thing, though, is that from the media and from the likes of the coalition and whatnot, you know, they're coming out and putting all this pressure on the current government, like, you guys aren't doing enough. And so the current government is capitulating and then saying things like, oh, okay, then we need to strengthen the gun laws. And I spoke about this earlier this week, how the terrorist attack was perpetrated with 2 guns, essentially, like both of which being legal to...
And both of which would probably remain legal. The only thing that would change is maybe the father wouldn't have been able to get them if only gun licenses were given to Australian citizens. So that would be the change, yeah? Yeah.
No, well, the suggested change in legislation, if it's that gun licenses could, you know, only be procured by Australian citizens, that is a fair change to be made. But included in that is, you can have less weapons in your collection and all these kinds of things, which, from my point of view and opinion, do not affect what happened at Bondi. You can make that legislative change and Bondi can still happen. And this is the big question. How do you stop that from happening? This is the big question that everyone needs to be asking. And the answers that are coming out is just more and more legislation, when I truly and firmly believe that we have every piece of legislation, anti-terrorist legislation, anti-Semitism legislation, and even gun control legislation. We have every piece of legislation that we already need to solve this problem. It's enforcement. It's the will to do something about it. Look, I say all this to say that because the reality is it'll never be perfect.
We're in a sinful world.
We're in a sinful, broken world. Things will still slip through the crack. The only person who provides true justice is Jesus himself. He's the only one that can judge fairly. He's the only one that can fix these situations and bring true retribution.
You're listening to the Breakfast Show podcast on Faith FM. Positively different.
You are listening to The Breakfast Show here on Faith FM. And right now, hey, we've come to our interview time. And we are going to be speaking to one of the fittest people I know. Shout out Caitlin Clutie, who is on the line with us. Caitlin, how are you going?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Oh, mate, I'm killing it, you know, kicking goals, living my best life, coming to Christmas time and wondering and desiring to know and understand from someone who is, you know, up with fitness like you are, what I can do to stay fit and healthy and get some good summertime, Christmas time rest. Like how can we hit that balance? You know, what are the do's and don'ts for the summer period? But yeah, look, we're stoked to be talking to you this morning and would love to open up that topic, that can of worms, and make sure that we're staying fit for the summer.
Hey, fitness isn't a can of worms.
Yeah. Fitness is a bowl of good protein or something like that. Well, look, we're opening it up and jumping into it. So, yeah.
Wow. Well, obviously, as people hit the holiday season, it gets very busy, gets exciting, lots of events, lots of food. Some people tend to indulge in, you know, many a sweet treat, alcohol, anything that's kind of the norm of the holiday season. And I think probably the best thing is just finding a bit of balance.
Sure.
You don't want to obviously restrict everything that you're having. Over restriction can increase like more more cravings, and then you're at that risk of, binge eating or overeating. So just having a bit of flexibility about that behavior, having a little bit of the things that you enjoy as well as some other healthier things as well.
Okay, so you're saying that some level of a bit of a compromise is key here. Not compromise in like a great spiritual sense or whatever, but in terms of saying, hey, I can eat a little bit, I can indulge a little bit, but just making sure there's some level of self-control and whatnot in there. How can you achieve that? Because I feel like there are some people listening that would agree with the sentiment that I sometimes experience, which is, one turns into many. And all of a sudden it's Christmas afternoon and you've eaten way too much food and you're like, I'll never do that again. And then you wake up on Boxing Day and eat all the leftovers, and then you say, I'll never do that again. And then, Coles has a special on Oreos, and then you're saying, I'll never do it again. Lots and lots and lots. Even, and you're in that cycle of excuses, right? How can you combat that? How can you, give in a little bit, but then simultaneously have self-control?
I am a victim to this as well. I feel like
a victim or a perpetrator? This is the question this morning. Yeah.
That's true. I think that I have bigger eyes than my stomach a lot of the time, and especially when you go somewhere, wherever it is, even like a Christmas party or something, and they have multiple treats and you're just like, oh my goodness, but I want that and I want that and I want that. And you just kind of like try a bunch of things. I think the key there is to just have a little bit. So if there's like a piece of cake that you really want, like cut that cake in half.
Oh.
And then like if there's, you want to have like, you see like a bowl of M&Ms or something, just like take 2 or 3 M&Ms. That way you're actually still having the M&Ms, but you're also having the other things, have half a Tim Tam or, share it with someone, grab like just little bits of things rather than having one serving of absolutely everything. I feel like that's probably the way to go there. And then, the same thing. People will, have a glass of wine and then that will turn into 10. Trying to like limit that by going, okay, I'm going to have one with dinner and then I'm going to make sure that I have a glass of water afterwards.
Or 0. Or just...
ultimately 0.
Ideally, don't touch it at all.
Yeah, there's some things in life that, like we talked about the benefit of things in moderation and balance, but there's some things in life that it's just like, should we have a little bit of arsenic or a little bit of some of these harmful things that that in all worlds, like, we should really be having none. I think the principle of balance or moderation kind of helps though when we're thinking of the target might be to not have any of let's say. There's a particular food that we know we just get addicted to and we want to completely cut it from our diet. Sometimes cold turkey isn't the best way. Sometimes, phasing it out and giving yourself permission to gently get yourself to that target, it might be a better way for some people than going cold turkey. Is that another principle that can work here, Caitlin?
Yeah, definitely. Just trying to reduce as much as possible. I mean, like, people often, there are definitely things that people should avoid altogether. For example, like some people will have their daily beer or their daily cigarette, and like those things are things that ultimately the ultimate goal would be to cut them out altogether. They're toxic substances that your body has to actively detoxify, and it puts stress on your organs and like increases your risk of multiple diseases and cancers over time. And then you have things like sugar, which in excess and in large amounts can do similar things because it, again, puts stress on the body.
Sugar is evil.
Yeah. Sugar can be quite bad.
Yeah. I'm saying this in jest, but actually, in my experience, I have actually over time wean myself back from being a sweet tooth to now I'm not even tempted by sweets. I don't care for them. Wow. Sometimes I'll have a piece of Christmas pudding or whatever to make sure that I'm not offending the host. But I'd be quite happy just having the savouries. Forget the sweets.
Wow. Well, in that too, I guess it would depend on like what savouries as well. Because
True.
These days, sugar's like literally in everything.
Yeah,
so
true.
Even when you feel like you're having, a packet of chips or whatever, there's so much sugar in a packet of chips.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is good to try and cut out more of those refined sugars. And I have plenty of friends that have done that over time, and they've reaped plenty of health benefits from it.
So if we're struggling to cut back on all the carbs and all that stuff, is this where fitness comes in? We can take the back door exit and just work it all off and we're all fine.
Yeah, this is, I think, my question. So, because your particular experience and expertise in exercise physiology, Caitlin, which you just told me you're doing your PhD in, which is amazing. So we're talking here to by far the most qualified person that, especially out of the three of us. If you went through Christmas time, you just utterly failed, right? Like you said, I was only going to have one piece of cake. You had 20. Like, so whatever. That's pretty extreme, but something like that. Can you just jump on the treadmill, on the 1st of Jan and work it off? Is that the way you should do it? Like, what kind of plan can you put in place?
To be honest, I feel like most of the health benefits that you're going to receive are going to be through dietary change.
Oof.
So,
and this is from someone doing a PhD in exercise physiology.
Yes,
you could be motivated to tell us that exercise is the answer.
Exercise is incredible. It does incredible things for your health, your mental health. It's super important.
I'm a runner. I love the endorphins.
Yeah, it's great. So people who don't exercise, like, they're missing out on a huge number of benefits. But in terms of overall health and longevity, you really need a combination of a healthy diet and exercise to receive maximum benefits. Obviously, you can have one without the other, but it's not going to be optimal. And if you want quick, faster results, then diet combined with exercise is the way to go. Like, general guidelines for Australians are 150 minutes of exercise a week, and that's moderate exercise. So you could be, walking for 30 minutes a day and almost achieving that. But yeah, really it's a combination between the both.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate what you're saying here, because I think someone could incorrectly get the idea that, oh, hey, look, I'm just going to go hard, no self-control, and I'll just pick it up on the morning
treadmill.
of the 1st, I'll just do it then. But what you're saying is, hey, these things already go hand in hand, and you're just putting yourself at a greater disadvantage, and it's actually going to be harder. If you could consistently exercised, but then didn't solve that problem, neither at Christmas nor on January 1st, you're never actually going to achieve what you're trying to achieve. Is that what you're getting at?
Yeah, pretty much. And there's obviously like a lot of other health, I guess, risks that occur when you're inactive, right? So like, if you're someone who doesn't like to be physically active and you just want to change your diet, that's great, and it's going to have some health improvements. But without that physical activity, you can still have an increased risk of chronic disease by 10%. So it's still significant.
Wow.
So what sort of fitness activities are you into, Caitlin?
Oh, recently I'm on the High Rocks Fad train with my friend Dan. So at the moment we've been doing a lot of High Rocks based activities.
What is that?
It's torture. No, it's basically like, it's an 8-kilometer run. So you do a kilometre, and then you'll do 1,000 metres on the ski erg, and then you do another kilometre, then you do like 100 burpee broad jumps, and then another kilometre and a 153 kilo sled push. And you have 8 stations of 8 different exercises, and in between you basically run a kilometre, and then you try and finish with a good time.
Wow.
That is so gnarly.
How long does the whole thing take?
I think on average it probably takes people about an hour and 40 minutes or so.
And you're going to get down to an hour?
We wish. We all wish. No, if we did that, we would be in the pro section. No, our newest PB time is an hour and 12 minutes. So
wow.
An hour and 12. I mean, that's so that's 8 kilometers with those exercises interspersed between them. An hour and 12 minutes. That is super impressive. Hey, so guys, listen, you're listening here to someone who's incredibly fit and has all the info for you. So this is awesome. Hey, look, we've got about a minute left. Is there anything that you want to leave with us? Any, key pieces of words of wisdom or whatever it may be that'll really bring it all together for the holiday period so that we're coming out of the New Year's feeling good and ready to have our fittest year yet?
Definitely. I think especially going into this holiday season, I would focus on trying not to overindulge, just have a little bit of what you want and not too much. I would encourage going for a walk after a meal. That helps improve digestion, will help regulate some of those hormones. So that's really good. It will increase your satiety as well. And then obviously drink water. Like, we're coming into our hottest months. Make sure you're hydrated. I think a lot of people will just have lots of water and think that they're getting enough hydration, but you actually need a little bit of salt for your muscles to be able to pull that water in and actually hydrate you. So adding something like a little bit more salt or a hydrolyte, some sort of electrolyte supplement into your diet over the hotter months is definitely going to be beneficial. And just try and get moving, even if it's just going for a post-meal walk. That's going to be the most beneficial. And then I think the other thing is just have some time for you. You want to make sure that you're still sleeping, that you're having a break. Now that it's holiday time, you get a little bit of time off work. Well, most people will. Just try and have a time to reset and take some time by yourself. Don't just crowd your calendar with different events, because you really want to be able to reset your body. There's plenty of good science in relation to even a long weekend, like an extra day, 3 days rather than 2 days, at increasing your mental health, at decreasing those stress hormones which cause chaos in your body. So I would say those would be my top tips.
Awesome. Awesome stuff. Hey, Caitlin, thank you so much for joining us.
The Breakfast Show. Bits worth repeating.
There was a sheep that escaped during bushfires in Tasmania, and they found him like 7 years later.
Wow.
But he'd been blind for a long time. I mean, he hadn't been blind. His eyes still worked, but the wool had grown over his eyes so that he couldn't actually see anything for a very, very long time. You think about sheep, and God looks at us as sheep, and God's like, okay, I want to give you a good life. I want to take the heat for you. I want to take the stress for you. Just trust me. Just walk through the valley of the shadow of death. Let me take care of that. Don't worry about where your food's coming from. Don't worry about where your water's coming from. Let me take care of that.
Lyle.
Yes?
I think I just realised where the expression wool over your eyes actually comes from.
It's taken him 24 years.
Wait. So when the sheep isn't looked after by the shepherd, they grow so woolly that the wool then covers their eyes and they're blind. That's where the expression comes from.
As Lawson has his light bulb moment over here. God comes to us and is like, I can be your shepherd. Okay, so you can live your life 2 ways. You can live out in the bush by yourself, or I can be your shepherd. Which one do you want to choose? Do you want to take all of these stresses on for yourself, or do you want me to carry these stresses for you?
And become blind and heavy.
This was a segment from The Breakfast Show. Join in each weekday morning here on Faith FM.